As a woman who saves, do you know what you're saving yourself from? You are saving yourself from poor choices, loss of opportunities, famine, embarrassment, difficulties, bad relationships, toxic work environment, toxic bosses, poor life decisions, and a whole lot of other bad stuff. Those are the things you're saving yourself from when you save as a woman. Welcome back, guys, to this brand new episode of Monix TV. My name is Moyo Sore. You can call me Mo, Moyo, Monix, Miss Rejoice, and any other good name you have for me. I love positive names, so if you see me drive by and you want to call me a positive name, I'll be sure to answer you guys. If you're new to my channel, those are my names. On this channel, we talk about faith and lifestyle. And I hope you love my channel. And if you do love my channel and everything that I talk about on this channel, please feel free to subscribe and punch on that notification bell so that whenever I release a new video, you'll be alerted and then you wouldn't miss any of my videos. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you guys for always coming to watch me. I'm so excited about you guys. Thank you. I see that our last video gained a lot of traction. Thank you for watching and thank you for sharing and spreading the news. If you haven't seen that video, I'm going to attach it somewhere here today so that you can go and watch it and then drop your comments. Guys, like the intro says or talks about or indicates, today we are talking about saving as a woman. Saving as a woman. This is a topic that cannot be overemphasized. Every woman must at least learn the art of saving. This topic applies to males and females, men and women, married women or married women, married men or married men. But I'm mostly concerned about women. Whether you're married or not, I just have a passion to, empower women in my own little way. And that is why I have come up with this topic today. I want every woman to be empowered, not just by investing your resources, but at the bare minimum, saving. You must know how to save. Some of the reasons why I feel like every woman should save is to save you from all of those things that I talked about in the introduction, to save you from a lot of stress. And most times we often feel like saving is to help us, especially for those of us who are in marriage. You feel like you are saving so that if your husband messes up, you can easily pull out your card and you do whatever you want to do. It's really not about that. There are certain instances where your savings will definitely help you, and those other instances is what I've come here to talk about today. I just want to establish the fact that it's even biblical for you to save as a woman, regardless of your gender anyways. But as a woman, you're the ones I'm talking to today, you must learn how to save, because there's always a time of abundance and also a time of famine or leanness. If you remember the story of Joseph in Egypt when he was imprisoned, Pharaoh had a dream and he needed somebody to interpret. At the end of the day, when Joseph interpreted that dream, the interpretation was that there was going to be 7 years of abundance followed by 70 years of famine. And in that case, what Joseph had advised was that in the 7 years of abundance, some of their crops, their grains, and everything generated on the harvest field for those 7 years, part of it should be saved against the lean season, so that by the time the famine season comes, which was meant to be 70 years, they would have abundance. And of course, as we know from the Bible, they had the 7 years of abundance followed by the 7 years of famine, and people from other countries, from other parts of the world came into Egypt at that time to buy from Egypt. And that was when Joseph met his other brothers who had abandoned him in time past. Back to the story here. So a lot of times it's not just about you having money in situations or instances when your husband misbehaves or your wife misbehaves, and then you feel like, okay, you have some money saved and then you can do whatever you want to do by ignoring him or her. No, we are not talking about that today. What we are talking about is cultivate the act of saving. Imagine it during COVID. Imagine having a household where the husband does not have any savings, the wife does not have any savings, and there are no palliatives available to help families. What then do? That means you would fall back on relatives or friends, and we all know that it's not all relatives or friends that mean well for you. The moment you go to their homes to beg them for money, they tell your other friends, your other mutual friends that, oh, this person just came to borrow 2K from me, this person just came to borrow 3K from me. Oh, and they've been priding themselves to be rich, to be wealthy, to be this, to be that. You don't want to put yourself in that situation where your whole family is embarrassed. So while both parties in the marriage should have some form of savings, as a woman, I feel you have your own responsibility to yourself to save yourself and your family from that level sort of embarrassment, that sort of mockery, by having something saved against lean seasons. I know some of you might say, oh, I reject it in the name of Jesus. We will never experience a lean season in our family. We will never experience famine. We will never experience another round of COVID-19 or any other kind of pandemic. But It's always very good for you to have something saved, something put aside in the event that something eventually happens, which we do not pray for. The other reason why I feel like every woman should save is that there might be times that you will have opportunities. Some opportunities can just suddenly come. Opportunities don't show up always or every day. There are times opportunities will just show up, and then you might need to plug in some money to be able to benefit from that particular opportunity. And I'll give you an example. I was talking to somebody, to a former classmate of mine, about a week or 2-3 weeks ago, and then she told me that there was a day she was minding her business in her office, and then suddenly she got an information that there was a conference that was going to happen the following weekend, and for her to be able to participate in that conference, she needed to pay a sum of $200. Mind you, this person that I'm talking about is in Nigeria, so for her, $200 would be about 300,000 naira. And what she told me was that it was very easy for her to dip her hands into her pocket to bring out the 300,000 naira to pay for that conference without having to call her husband, without having to wait for her husband before the money was paid. That even made me respect her the more, because for her to be able to bring out $200 from her pocket by herself without having to wait on her husband shows that she's a woman who is intentional and a woman who saves for the rainy day. This is an art that I believe every woman should be able to adopt or incorporate or inculcate into their daily lifestyles, including myself. What I'm trying to say here is that there are certain times opportunities will come your way, and those opportunities, if you miss them at that moment or at that point in time, those opportunities may not come again until the next 5-10 years. So you wouldn't want to miss opportunities just because you don't have money saved. And another very common example is, for instance, you have people relocating maybe from Nigeria to the US, and they have a lot of things to sell. Maybe they have a brand new car that they just bought barely 6 months ago, and now because they are relocating, they want to sell that car at a very ridiculous amount. If you do have some form of savings at that moment, you are able to buy that car off them, especially if you need a car and you have enough money saved for you to be able to buy that car off of them. Imagine if that car was going for ₦1 million in the market, and because they are traveling and they need that money urgently, they are willing to sell at 200,000 naira. And here you have like 300,000 naira saved in your bank account. You can easily withdraw the 200,000 naira because you can afford it at this time. That is an opportunity worth running with, and you take the opportunity just because you have some money saved in your bank account. Next thing that I want to say is that sometimes your spouse might run into losses. Sometimes your spouse might be broke. Sometimes life can happen to your spouse. Sometimes that spouse of yours who is an odogu, who makes provision at home, who makes provision for, the entire household, makes provisions for you, makes provision for your children, makes provision for everybody within the household. Something might happen to Odogu, and Odogu might not be able to Odogu in all things anymore. So what happens? Are you going to leave Odogu stranded? Are you going to watch Odogu beg his friends for money? Are you going to watch Odogu go back to his ex to borrow an urgent 2K? You wouldn't want a situation like that. So that is why I'm saying, as a woman, as a spouse, whether you're married or not, have something saved so that when situations like this happen and your husband is not able to step up on the ladder as he has always done, you'll be able to step up, to help your family at that particular time without having to make your husband go to his friends or relatives or even colleagues to borrow an urgent 2K for your family to survive. And I think lastly, I just want to talk about the fact that you might also be saving yourself and you're releasing some form of embarrassment when you have savings as a woman. There are times when a man is not just responsible for his immediate family, but he's also responsible for his wife's family members. This is quite common in Africa, I believe, where once you are married to a woman, you automatically take on her siblings, her parents, and you begin to take care of them. So in a situation where that man is responsible for his wife's relatives, it's going to get to a point where it will get tired, especially if he's not that wealthy. If he's a very wealthy man, he might not mind. He might be excited about shouldering all of that responsibilities. But if he's not that wealthy and probably his wealth is depleting or his salary is not enough to be able to take care of everybody like it used to, what then happens? And your family members are now becoming more demanding. Your spouse, your husband pays for their children's school fees, he pays for this, he pays for that. Now they are even having more children, he's paying for hospital bills. So what happens if something happens to your husband and he's not able to foot all of those bills anymore? So in that instance, Imagine if you as the wife have some form of savings. If you are working and you have some money saved aside, you might be able to step in that situation and support your own family as opposed to waiting for your husband to support them even when he doesn't have. So you have the responsibility to be a woman who saves in all situations. And when I'm talking about savings, I don't want you to get me wrong. Savings doesn't mean you should have like $1 million saved. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm just trying to tell us here in essence is that as a woman, you don't use your 10 fingers to eat everything that comes into your hands. My mom taught me this. And Yoruba people would say, so you don't eat with all your 10 fingers. So this means that if you have money coming in frequently or regularly, you're so excited. Even if you don't work for the money, people are giving you a gift here and there. It's not at that point you begin to think of, oh, let me go and get the Chanel bag. Let me go and get the Tom Ford perfume. Let me go and get the latest Louboutin shoes. That's not the time for you to start gathering all of those things that will deplete at the end of the day. So when all of those monies come to you, whether they are gifts, whether it's your salary, whether it's donations from people to you, whether it is royalties you get from products you sell online or whatever it is, make sure you have something saved. For instance, if you're earning $10 per month, try as much as possible to save at least $1. I'm just using this as an example. Of course, experts at savings and investing will tell you to save or invest a certain percentage. I'm not here to tell you all of that because I'm not a finance guru. What I'm just trying to tell you that regardless of whatever you earn or whatever comes into your pocket as a woman, learn to save. Even if it's 50 cents out of that $10 you save on a monthly basis, make sure you save, because at the end of the day, you'll never know when that money is going to come in to save you. So guys, I hope you understand all that I said today. Every woman needs to have something saved. Even if you're a full housewife, make sure that out of the stipend your spouse is giving you on a monthly basis, whether on a weekly, monthly, or bi-monthly, or how often it gives you the money, make sure that something is saved from whatever it gives you as a full housewife. Do not take everything and consume all at once. That is not the time for you to begin to compete with your friends who drive the latest Range Rover or who live in the fancy homes in Banana Island and Ikoyi. That is not the time to compete with anybody. Manage yourself according to your budget and make sure you save. And if you're working 9 to 5 or you're a business person, not everything that comes into your pocket as your profit should be spent on luxury items or luxury goods because you want to impress people or because you want to feel among or because you want to maintain a particular status in the society. Try to save. Regardless of how much it amounts to at the end of the year, you have it at the back of your mind that if anything happens, if a pandemic occurs, if life happens to your spouse, even to you, something bad happens to you, you have something you can fall back on, you have something you can rely on, and you don't have to run to your friends or relatives, and you don't have to make a mockery of yourself in those seasons. Till we see again, it's bye from your girl, Miss Rejoice. Bye guys.